Okay, Father Ronald. Well, the first question on a parent's mind, or maybe even on the mind of the student, is, how do I know if this is a fit for me? So, what kind of student really thrives at Sacred Heart Apostolic School?
What kind of student thrive? Well, Sacred Heart Apostolic School, it honestly is not for everyone, but it might be for you. When I talk to a mom and dad that are considering the school for their son, I let them know, first of all, that I have to check, is there a firm foundation to build on? Sacred Heart Apostolic School is not a reform school. It's not like to help a child that's struggling in every way in his life. That's not why we exist. We exist to serve a young man who feels drawn to something big, something great in his life. He knows that God has a call for him, and he wants to go somewhere where he can figure that out and do that with other boys his own age, right? So it takes a special circumstance. We, as the formators at the school, will never take the place of the parents, right? And so a boy has to come from what I like to see it as kind of like a firm foundation that we build upon. And that foundation, if it's not like a building, if the foundation's not there, the building's going to fall. Right? So if a boy comes here without the firm foundation, there's that's not our job. We don't have anything really to do with him. But if he comes with uh his parents love him, that he knows, if I ask him, do your mom and dad love you? And he's no doubt, yes, my parents love me. Okay, check. That's great. Um, Faith, is he going to mass every Sunday, or the family going to mass every Sunday? They're living a sacramental life. Do they pray together? Do they pray the rosary? Does the boy love God? And always that reflects on, honestly, the beauty of the faith in the family. If the boy has a dad that, you ask him, is your dad a man of God? And he said, yeah, my dad is a man of God. That's an awesome sign. If mom is there present and praying with the kids and encouraging them and teaching them the faith, so they have a foundation of love at home, of faith in the family. And then the last thing that is necessary is that the boy, in order to come here, it's not just like, oh, here's a cool school I found online, but it's like the boy comes here and visits and
Mhm.
he feels drawn. If that draw doesn't exist, like a pull that the boy feels to the school, then there's not really, I mean, that has to be there first before
Yeah.
the boy could come and be a part of this, right?
Mhm. That makes so much sense because uh, I remember when Donnie decided he wanted to come to the school, and I asked him, "Well, why do you want to come?" And he said, "I feel so at home there."
Mm.
Do you get that comment a lot?
It's interesting how every boy expresses it a little bit differently, but the words that I look for, the what I look for that I feel is authentic when it's coming from the boy, is something like what expresses that draw, like I'm saying, like a draw or a pull. And it's amazing to me how often they use those words. Like, I just feel drawn to it, or I feel like there's something here at Sacred Heart Apostolic. So there's something here that I just feel like I'm supposed to be a part of, I just feel at home there. It's like a home away from home or something like that. When they say those things, it gives me a great confidence. Like, okay, this could be something really good for this kid, right? You never want to, I mean, I've never experienced really a boy that doesn't feel that in some way, that even wants to consider it. Sometimes the parents are like, oh, go anyway because it's a great place or whatever, but that's not the point. That's not it really has to be a desire of the boy that he wants this. And then it's something that the parents, observing that, when you as a parent observe in your son, when he comes home from a retreat at Sacred Heart Apostolics and he says, mom, dad, like, I think I might want to go there. I think I might want to study there. I feel, and you're like, what? Do you feel like you want to be a priest? And like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be a priest or not, but there's just something there that I don't know, I feel drawn to. That's when you as a parent should come here with
Uh,
your son and visit and come and see, because, obviously, if you're a good parent, you're probably not going to just send your son to a school you have never visited, right? You need to come out and check it out, take it seriously. The reason for, I don't want to go too deep into this, but the reason for taking this serious is because you have been entrusted with this young man, right? You've been given a gift from God of a life in your family. What do you want for him? You want him to get to heaven. That's your desire, right? For your children, is that they be in heaven forever with you and that they be happy on their way on earth. The only way for us to be happy on this, in this life, is to know that you're following God, that he has a mission for your life, and you feel with confidence that you are following what he's asking of you, like what he wants for you. And so if your son comes to you and says, I might I might be called to be a priest. At least this school looks like I want that. Like these boys, they pray together, they play together, they do all these things together, and they're like really serious about this. I think that it would be very wise for you as a parent to check it out, to look into it. Like, could this be God? Could this be God moving my son to this a path like this? And whether he's, comes and checks out Sacred Heart and then decides not to come, or comes and he studies for a year and then just doesn't feel drawn anymore, or the soil, he kind of exhausts the soil of what it has to offer for him, or he's here for the entire high school and grows and graduates and wants to go to the seminary, whatever the path God has in mind for him. If you as a parent are supporting what seems to be authentic in your son as a call, or like a draw or a push that he's feeling in himself, I would take it seriously. Take it seriously when your son tells you anything that is trying to move himself towards God. What an awesome thing that is. If
Right.
your son is trying to move himself towards God because he feels drawn, I'd back that up.
Yeah, I think for me as a parent, having been through now, I have 7 kids, right? So 4 of them have already are decided on their vocation. 3 are still discerning in some ways a vocation. They haven't landed yet. I know that for me as a parent, one of the things that I've learned to do over the years is to let God lead that, give him space for that, because it's very exciting as a parent to see what God can do when you give him that space, right? And allow him to just work in your child's life like that. It's a beautiful gift.
Well, I think, I mean, if anyone misinterpreted, that's my mom. I'm her son, and so I was raised in that house, and my mom never. And we prayed for vocations, right, mom, in the house, but I never. I don't ever remember you telling me, Ronnie, you should be a priest one day or something, or like go to the seminary, be a priest or whatever. I I authentically, well, maybe at the time I was like, my mom doesn't care what I do with my life or something, when you obviously did care and you gave me a lot of opportunities where I could hear God's voice. I
yeah.
think that's what you told me one time, and that you sacrificed a lot of time and money to be able to put me into situations where I was more likely to hear God's call, whatever that might be. Right. And that really worked, because I was going on missions. I was going on World Youth Day trips, different things like that were just, it was lighting a fire in my soul, in my heart, that I wanted to, I everything that I was kind of talking about, I felt called to greatness, something great, right? Something big in my life. And I didn't know what it was. And I ended up, after high school, going for a year of missionary work in Mexico. And then after that, joining the seminary, thinking that I wasn't going to stay there. It was just to give God that chance, but he ended up calling me in a very clear and complete way after a year of seminary, that I've never doubted since then. But it came from just a simple openness, like from the family, right?
And I think it's important to say, like, our family lacks perfection, right?
Oh yeah.
And I've never been good at routine my whole life. I've struggled with anything routine. I like to change things up. So even like the rosary and things like that kind of went with the ebb and flow of family life. It wasn't like something that was rigid in our house at all. So I just want families to know when they hear that they have prayer in their home. I think it would be, the words I like to use are like, we have a habit of praying, right? It's part of our life. It's part of our family. Jesus lives in our house.
Yeah.
And he's there amongst the good, the bad, and the everything. There's
Yeah.
also,
When I,
oh, go ahead.
just a minute, when I talk about that firm foundation, that the family has to achieve before a kid can come here, I'm not it's not like there's never been a chip or a crack in that foundation, right? Because there's, every a married couple has days when they're on days and off days, and there's, you commit to praying the rosary every day, but then you go a week or two without praying, whatever. Like there's normal, like you said, ebb and flow, I guess, of family life that happens. So don't discard an opportunity, like this, for your son, just because your family's not perfect, right?
Right.
If only perfect families could produce potential priests or apostles for the next generations, we'd be in big trouble. Yeah.
That's right. I remember someone one time when I gave a talk about family life one time, and they said, "You're my model of imperfection." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what
Well, thank you.
that's me." So anyway, then we want to talk about academics and things, but I think we'll save it for another question, because academics are obviously a part of this, but and they would have
Well,
to.
just a quick word, just like other kind of like simple prerequisites for a boy to be able to be here. What we said about the boy feeling the drawing, but then he needs the support of his family. Like if mom's like, yeah, let's go to the school, it's going to be great, and dad's like, I don't want him to go, I don't want him to go, and dad's against it, it's not going to work well. The boy has to feel support from both mom and dad and siblings. There might be a sibling like, oh, don't, he shouldn't leave or whatever, but and it's not, also to reiterate that he's going to a boarding school, but there's over 80 days in the year where he's home, right, with his family,
Right.
and has several phone calls a week, video phone calls with the family. So in a lot of ways, the family ties with a boy that's here, even they strengthen more, because of the somewhat separation. The moments of union are become even stronger, and there's kind of like a bind that even gets tighter when a boy is here. That often happens. It has to be a boy also that's ready to take his academics seriously. We have serious teachers. We have a serious program of formation for academics. And the boy has to have like a drive to, I want to perform. I want to do well in my academics. The other thing is that the boy really is open to it. If God were to call me to the priesthood, I would say yes. If I know that God's calling me, I would say yes. That has to be, that's one of the prerequisites. And then an ability to live in community, because we have all the boys here at the school, they're always with the same kids. This doesn't mean they never fight with their brothers and sisters or something, but that they have to be able to live charity and to be ready to serve. They're gonna have work to do here. They're gonna be serving a table. They're gonna be doing a lot of things that require them to have a selfless attitude, so that the ability to do that is also necessary. That comes with time too, and getting to know the routine here, and the boy himself, etc.
Okay. Thank you, Father.
Awesome. God bless.